The Republic of Bulgaria occupies the eastern portion of the Balkan Peninsula. In 1946, some 1,200 years after it was founded as a kingdom, it came under communist control, which lasted until the great political upheaval in Eastern Europe in 1989–90 and the demand for greater freedom. Its neighbors are Serbia and North Macedonia on the west, Romania on the north, and Greece and Turkey on the south. The Black Sea forms its eastern boundary. The capital of Bulgaria is Sofia. Area 42,858 square miles, 111,002 square kilometers. Population, 2020 est. 6,926,000. Land and climate. Bulgaria is a little smaller in area than Greece. The country is divided into two parts by the east-west chain of the Balkan Mountains, called by the Bulgarian Stara Planina, Old Mountains. Although they rise in places to more than 7,000 feet, 2,100 meters, the mountains have rounded tops and so do not have a rugged appearance. They are crossed by several passes. To the north of the range lies an area of lowland along the Danube River. To the south of the mountains and running parallel to them is the range of the Srednja Gora, Central Forest. The two ranges are separated by the valley of the Tunja River. To the south of the Srednja Gora is the Thracian Plain, which is the broad valley of the Maritsa River and one of the best areas in Bulgaria for farming. The southwest contains a large rugged area consisting of the Rila, Pirin, and Rhodope mountains. The highest peak in Bulgaria, Mount Musala, 9,596 feet, 2,925 meters, is in the Rila Mountains. The Rhodope Mountains form the boundary with Greece. Apart from the Danube lowland and the Thracian Plain, the only other lowlands are along the Black Sea coast and in the west, around the capital city of Sofia. Bulgaria's major river is the 1,750-mile, 2,800-kilometer, Danube, which forms much of the border with Romania. The longest river originating in Bulgaria is the Maritsa. Other major rivers include the Iskar, Tunja, and Struma. The flow of many Bulgarian rivers varies with the season. Some of the rivers become dry by the end of the summer. The climate of Bulgaria is continental, with warm summers and cold winters. In the southern portion of the country, which is tempered by Mediterranean influences, and along Bulgaria's Black Sea coast the winters are comparatively mild. The climate is on the whole favorable for agriculture, but it is too cold for the growing of citrus fruits and olives. A major problem for farmers is summer drought. Plant and animal life. About one-third of the country is covered by forest, much of it beech and oak. Coniferous trees, such as pine, fir, and spruce, grow mainly on the slopes of the Rhodope and Rila mountains. The lowland areas had a mixed vegetation of trees and grass but are now cleared for farming. There are about 20 soil types and subtypes. The soils of the Danube lowlands and the Thracian plain are of good quality for farming. People. The Bulgarians descend from the Bulgars, who settled in the area in the 7th century. They were assimilated into the Slavic culture and adopted its language. The communist regime that controlled the country for most of the second half of the 20th century discouraged religion, and most of the population is atheistic. The majority of Bulgarians who profess a faith belong to the Eastern Orthodox Church. Most of the people are ethnic Bulgarians. The largest minority groups are Turks, Roma, Gypsies, and Macedonians. Because of a long period of Turkish control, many aspects of Bulgarian folk culture show Turkish influence, especially music, clothing, and architecture. In recent times Western influences have appeared in Bulgarian literature and art. Much of Bulgarian culture after World War II was ordained by communist ideology. For almost 20 years ethnic Turks and Muslims were forced to adopt Bulgarian names in an attempt to assimilate the groups into the culture of the country. In early 1990 a new law was passed granting them the right to use their own Muslim names. About two-thirds of the population lives in cities. The largest city is Sofia, the capital, with more than 1 million inhabitants. Other cities include Plovdiv, Varna, Burgas, Ruse, and Pleven. Economy. In 1990, with former communists in control of the new parliament, the country opted for a slow transition to a market economy. Farming plays a major role in the Bulgarian economy. About half of the cultivated land is devoted to the production of cereals, of which the principal crops are wheat, corn, maize, and barley. Tobacco, cotton, sugar beets, and sunflowers for vegetable oil are also produced. The principal livestock are sheep, cattle, and pigs. Bulgaria is not overly rich in energy resources, though it does have relatively large reserves of lignite. Other energy sources are brown coal and hydroelectric power. Reserves of soft coal and of petroleum and natural gas are meager. There is a large oil refinery at Burgas on the Black Sea coast. Important hydroelectric power projects are located in the Rhodope and Rila mountains. The largest power station in Bulgaria is a nuclear plant located on the Danube. Bulgaria's supplies of metals and minerals are relatively good. Iron ore, lead, copper, zinc, and manganese are produced. Before World War II, Bulgaria had little industry. An iron and steel industry was developed. However, the production of metal is insufficient to support extensive manufacturing. Manufactured products include cement, semi-finished rolled steel products, pig iron, fertilizers, and small automobiles and trucks. There are many chemical and textile plants. Sofia is the largest industrial center of the country, producing processed foods, chemicals, electrical equipment, textiles, and clothing. Transportation, communication, and education. The railway network in Bulgaria is sparse, but it is the main means of transport. It is partially electrified. Road mileage throughout the country has more than doubled since World War II, and improvements on the system are continuing. The country has international airports at Sofia, Varna, and Burgas. Varna and Burgas are the main Black Sea ports. The major Danube river port is Ruse. Bulgaria has compulsory education for children between the ages of 7 and 16. There are universities at Sofia, Veliko Turnovo, and Plovdiv. Radio and television are under state control. Government and history. In 1947, Bulgaria adopted a constitution based on that of the Soviet Union. Until 1990, when free elections were held and the Communist Party lost its constitutionally guaranteed exclusive power, the party controlled the government and all aspects of national life. The 240-member National Assembly is elected by popular vote. On July 13, 1991, Bulgaria's communist past was swept aside, when a new constitution went into effect declaring the country a democratic, constitutional, and welfare state. The Communist Party was renamed the Bulgarian Socialist Party. The area occupied by present-day Bulgaria was a territory of the Roman Empire for more than 300 years. In the 6th century AD it was invaded by the Slavs and in the 7th century by the Bulgars. Although the original Bulgars were eventually absorbed by the Slavs, the name Bulgar came to be applied to both. In 864 Tsar Boris I converted to Christianity. Under Tsar Simeon, Bulgaria became a major Slavic empire, with control over Macedonia and Serbia. The rulers of the Byzantine Empire broke up the Bulgarian rule. In 1185 a revolt against the Byzantines was successful, and a second Bulgarian Empire was established. In 1396 Bulgaria was conquered by the Ottoman Turks, and the country ceased to exist for 500 years. In the 19th century a revolutionary movement for national independence grew in Bulgaria, resulting in an uprising in 1876 that was put down by the Turks. The Russians then came to Bulgaria's aid, and in 1878, the Turks were defeated in several battles. The other great powers supported the Ottoman rulers, however, and the Congress of Berlin in 1878 returned to the Ottoman Empire much territory freed by the Russians. Part of the Bulgarian territory was declared a self-governing state, and Alexander of Battenberg was made prince. In 1887 Ferdinand of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha replaced the unpopular Alexander, and in 1908 all of Bulgaria was proclaimed independent from the Ottoman Empire with Ferdinand as its king. Bulgaria participated in 1912 in the First Balkan War against the Ottoman Empire. The Turks were quickly defeated, and in the 1913 peace treaty Bulgaria was awarded the largest share of the territory under dispute. The Second Balkan War then broke out. Bulgaria was defeated and lost much of its claim but did retain a part of eastern Macedonia. During World War I Bulgaria sided with Germany. With Germany's defeat in 1918 Ferdinand abdicated, and Bulgaria lost territory to Greece and Romania. During the rule of Tsar Boris III, Ferdinand's son, there was much internal strife between the political parties. In 1934 Boris suspended the constitution and banned all parties. After the outbreak of World War II Boris followed his father's example and supported the Germans. Boris died in 1943, and his son, Simeon II, became king. The war ended with an invasion of Bulgaria by Soviet troops, and a communist government was set up in 1946 under Georgy Dimitrov. The heady atmosphere of reform in Eastern Europe at the end of 1989 reached Bulgaria. The president and chairman of the Communist Party, Todor Zhivkov, resigned. The new party chief, Petr Mladinov, called for free elections, and in June 1990 Bulgaria became the first Eastern European country to freely elect a parliament dominated by former communists. The next year brought the country its first non-communist cabinet in half a century. Zalyu Zalev, leader of the Opposition Union of Democratic Forces, UDF, succeeded Mladinov as president. He was re-elected in 1992, when Blaga Dimitrova became the first woman vice president in post-communist Eastern Europe. Amidst growing social protests and popular demonstrations, Petr Stoyanov, a 44-year-old lawyer from the UDF, was sworn in as president of Bulgaria on January 19, 1997. Stoyanov replaced retiring Bulgarian President Zalyu Zalev, who had left office as the Bulgarian economy was grinding to a virtual standstill. Zalev's government, controlled by the ruling Socialist Party, had become synonymous with corruption in Bulgaria, and Stoyanov rode the wave of popular dissatisfaction into the presidential office. On January 10, 1997, tens of thousands of Bulgarians took to the streets to protest government corruption and to demand immediate parliamentary elections and the creation of a new government capable of dealing with the continually worsening economic health of the country. The most pressing of the long-term problems awaiting the new government was the task of restoring some degree of economic stability to Bulgaria. After months of rudderless economic leadership, real wages throughout Bulgaria had declined to an average of only $30 a month, hyperinflation had devastated the economy, and the value of the Bulgarian currency had decreased sharply. In February 1997, President Stoyanov diffused a potentially catastrophic domestic crisis by negotiating an agreement with the rival Socialist Party to hold parliamentary elections in April 1997. The agreement dealt a significant blow to the besieged Socialist Party, which, despite losing the presidency to the UDF, continued to wield power in parliament. The UDF won a resounding victory in April's parliamentary elections. The economy stabilized, but progress was slower than hoped. The administration was plagued by accusations of corruption in 2000, but it remained in power and became the first post-communist administration in Bulgaria to complete a full four-year term. The elections of 2001 returned the socialists to power, however, when their candidate, Georgy Parvanov, defeated Stoyanov for the presidency. The nation's former king Simeon II, who had been in exile, was elected prime minister. Bulgaria was invited to join NATO in 2002. You can subscribe to support our channel and turn on the notification bell to be notified of new videos.